One of the most common problems in mobile apps is when the front end and back end get out of sync. Let's imagine here, this is our back end and this is our front end. Let's imagine the back end adds a new field right here, right? Like for example, it's new user. Just to give you an example, now the backend expect a field that the front end does not send. And what happened here is this causes runtime errors and broken APIs. A better solution is to share the contract between both apps. So that's why we are building a package or SDK, right? But in order to become an SDK, we need to add more stuff to the package, like for example, third-party connection like Firebase or any other type of third-party connection, right? But let's take a look how we can build that package so we can have we don't have duplicated types, right? So the first thing that we need to do, let's go to the terminal, and basically we are gonna add this, and now we are gonna init our project, right? Now that we have all of these, we need to open our VS Code, and we need to install a couple of things before we start working on our code, right? So the first thing that we need to install is Zod. Let me install that. And the other thing that we need to install is the TypeScript, right? Let me add that to this. Let me open this in VS Code, right? One moment. Here we need to basically do some changes, right? First, we need to go to the package. Well, let me add the type first, right? The TypeScript configuration, right? Let me add a file here, tsconfig the JSON. And here I will copy some configuration here so we don't lose too much time here. That's the configurations that we need. And then over here, we need to add some configurations too. And other thing that we need to do is create, if you don't have one, create an npm account, right? If you don't have one, and you have to log in, right? In order to log in, you need to do npm login, right? In my case, I am logged in already. So how I can verify that is basically npm who am I. So basically it will let us know that we are logging, right? So, and now we need to do some changes here, right? Like for example, we are gonna change that name, right? As you can see here, this is my name here that I'm user, or my username. So I'm gonna add this to my package here, right? I'm gonna leave this here, like for example, it will be something like this. And now we need to do a few changes to, and I'm just gonna copy them so we don't lose time working on those changes. So basically these changes, let me remove this and let me paste this here, right? And that's basically all we need to do here. So now let's start building our structure, and our structure, it will be pretty simple, right? So the first thing that we need to do is create a folder. I'm gonna call it as RC, and within this folder we're gonna create a few more files, right? So this one will be the first one, and then we are gonna create another one. We might not use all of them, but just to give you a structure here. And then we are gonna the index, create another one called roads. We don't need this, but just to give you an example, roads ts, and I'm gonna copy the code here because we don't, that way we don't lose time, right? The idea here is to understand that this package will help us to keep the Zod schema in one folder, and both application, the backend and frontend, will utilize them to keep the applications in sync, right? So let's copy this, and basically this is the schemas for logging, validations, and everything, right? You can see here the response is here too, and everything. We can use this in the front end and back end, right? So now let's go to the errors. I'm gonna copy those two, and basically the same thing, right? So there is some Zod validation that are exposed, and we can import them in our front end, right? We will see how we can publish this package and then install this package both application, right? We have the routes here and we have the index, right? So let me add the index here, and this is what we need, right? Basically everything that we need, right? So we have this validation, which is the email and password, and we have these types too that we can use if we want to in the front end, and we have this login response just in case we need to type the response as well, and we have the registrations here too, right? Now let's imagine like we need to add a new field here, right? So now when you save everything and republish this package, now your front end and back end will have this new field that we add here, right? So that's basically that we need here. So now let's publish the package and try to install it in both applications, right? So let's go to the terminal and to build our package, right? And then we need after building it, we can publish this package, right? Let's build it. It looks like everything went okay. As you can see here, we have the dist, and that's why we add this over here, right? As you can see here, it's using all of this, right? That's why we are using this. We are modifying this over here. So now that we already built that, we need to basically publish the package. And now how we are going to publish that, let's take a look at the terminal time. And the way that we are going to publish that is by basically npm publish access, and it will be public, right? Of course, in production, it will have to be private, right? But right now, it's just an example, and we are basically making this package public, right? So let's go ahead and press enter. Oh, it is asking me to log in again, right? So I will copy now. It's login, and basically, as you can see here, the package it's being published, right? Now, in order to install this package, we need to, let me go to cam. I want to create a new branch. Let's go and check out a new branch. And I'm gonna add a feed contracts. Feed contracts. Okay, we are in a new branch, as you can see here, and now we need to install the package, right? As we name it, right? Package name, right? And basically, when you install it, I will install it in the backend first, and the first thing I need to do is npm install, and I will use the package name. And the package name, that's the package name. And let me just show you that I don't have anything in the package here, like something similar to what I'm going to install right now. Yep, it's not in there. So now I'm going to install it, right? As you can see, now we have our package there. And now we can actually utilize that package. Let me move this, and I'll show you how we can use this package, right? But I was planning to do that here, but to make it clear, I'm gonna add here another folder to make it more so we can have this for the previous video, and I will add another folder here. I'm just gonna add it, and I'm gonna name it validation SDK. And basically here I'm gonna create another folder, and I'm gonna call validation out that is SDK.ts. And basically what I'm going to do, it's basically copy this code and paste it here, right? And now you will have two files, right? And you can compare the difference, right? But one more thing that we need to do is add this to the script here, so you can call it and we can test it later, right? So we are gonna add this here basically, and I'm gonna add a comma here, and we're gonna call it dev validation SDK. So basically we'll go to the validation SDK, and then we go to the file name, right? And we are missing the auth here, basically. Yep. And that will do it, right? So we can run this command from our terminal and we'll run that file, right? So now let's basically add the validations here, right? So the first thing that we need to do is import from, and we need our package, right? Which is telling us here. As you can see, we see all the types, right, that we created in our package, right? We have access to the login request schema, as you can see here, API, error schema, and those are here, as you can see. So we have access to all these type, and now they are all in one file in this package, right? So let's continue. Let me do this a little bit like that. And now how we can use this, we're going to use the login, that's for sure. The login request schema, and we are going to use the register also, right? Register request schema, and maybe the roads, right? And the roads are basically the register and the login. So basically, and so now we can use those here, right? So basically we can add the roads, the out the, and this is the register road, boom. And basically the same thing here, right? We can use the login road. Yeah, that's basically, and it's telling me the AI autocomplete, it's telling me here what we need here, right? And that's basically what we need. As you can see, now we can delete all of this. So now we don't need this. We don't need this anymore. So, and we don't need Zod, right? Because we are getting that from our npm package, right? And now that's basically all we need over here. And we're going to test that. But before doing so, we are going to basically install the same thing in our front end, right? Let's take a look now at the front end, and let's take a look at the code, right? So now it's looking clean, right? We don't need this because all comes from our package, right? So now we need our front end, and let's install it on our front end. And this is our front end, right? So let me add that too, and I'll show you here too. There is no package install it yet. So now let's go to our terminal, and let me add a new branch, right? So now let's create a new branch here in our React Native app, and the new branch will call feed contract app, right? What we need to do is install our package, right? In this case, we are using BAM. So basically, we need to do BAM install in the package name that we have it, right? So in the package name, it's once again, it's over here, right? It's this one right here. And so we need to install that. And as you can see, it's not here, right? So now that we install that, we should see it there. Boom, we install it and we are ready to use it, right? It's there. And now we are gonna utilize that here too, right? And our code, it will look more cleaner, right? So now let's import that. Let me add import from and the package name, right? We need those, and also I think those two. Now we need to register schema, and now we need the login schema right here. Yeah, and all of that comes, and now we can delete that. But for now, let's just take a look at those and see if our app is still working, right? Let me run the application. Okay, good. Everything is looking good. Now let's run our server. npm rom dev validation SDK, right? Let's see if that doesn't make us. Yeah, sure, it's running. And our front end, it's open our iOS, and we should see the same result as our previous video, right? If you haven't watched it, please go ahead and take a look at that. Excellent. Let's go ahead to the validation demo and let's take a look, right? Yeah, as you can see, our validation, it's still working, right? And we are using the SDK that we create, or the package that we created, right? In order to become, once again, in order to become SDK, we need to add more stuff, right? But our validation are working properly, right? So now, if the backend decided to add more stuff, we can easily add it to the SDK. And now both applications will have the same types, right? And the same validation. And so everything is in sync, right? And I think that's it for the video. I hope you understand it. And one more thing to remember when it comes to security, the front-end validation is just to improve the UI. Remember that. And the real security is in the backend, right? Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and I will appreciate the follow. See you in the next one.